And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We're coming to you from the spiritual and soon to be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if you think somebody's actually going to find this interesting, why don't you go ahead and hit the share button and you can share it with them as well. So I'd like to speak about, how do we call it? Maybe anti-fear mongering. Okay, my inbox is full and my feed is full of like financial survival guides for 2025. Okay, get the guide for 2025. How should you invest for 2025? The answer is the same way you invested in 2024, unless you were not investing correctly. Okay. I don't understand. What is the financial, what are these guides that everybody is peddling? And I'm telling you, I'm getting them by the tens. I think this morning when I opened up my email, I got like 4 or 5, and then on YouTube, I got like 3 or 4. And that was just over the last 24 hours. Okay, what is going to happen in 2025 exactly that we need to have like this kit to survive? Okay, do we need like bandages and band-aids and maybe some bottled water? Like we're investing, and most of us that we're talking to, right, this is what I'm usually talking about, is investing for the long term. So what's going to happen in 25, which is going to throw everything into disarray? I don't understand that you need the guide, okay? You need a guide on how to invest if you've invested incorrectly in the past. What's that mean? If you've been like a hot investment chaser, if you've invested in things which seemed at that point to be awesome in terms of returns, and at the end they turned out too good to be true. In such cases, then you need a guide on how to invest. But if you're a long-term investor who follows what we speak about all the time, okay, maybe markets are going to go down in 2025. I don't know, right? Are interest rates going to go down, or are they going to go up? I'm not sure, okay? Are there going to be tariffs, or are there not going to be tariffs? How much the tariffs are going to be? How much the tariffs are not going to be? I don't know. What are going to be the best performing sectors in the market in 2025? I don't know. Okay, if you go back and you look at like the expert prognostications at the beginning of every single year and all kinds of market targets and what have you, they're almost always wrong. You know why? Because we can't predict the future. So what do we do if we can't predict the future? We do what we've done, and that we learn from the past. We see, well, the past generally over time, right? Stock markets go up. Now they go up, they don't go up in a straight line. And yes, we've had a few really, really good years, but keep in mind that came after those 2 years have come after one really, really lousy and bad year. Okay, so we're sort of just more or less on track, like we always do when you take the average of everything. But if you're investing for the long term, you clearly know. And if you don't know, now is a good time to remind you. Anybody who's investing in the stock market over the long term will absorb some big market losses. Markets drop. Don't let anybody tell you they don't. Yeah, we've had a couple of back-to-back 20 plus years in the market. That's fantastic. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Doesn't mean that the 7 big top tech stocks are going to continue to pull the market forward again. We don't know what's going to happen, but there's a good chance, right? On average, stock markets drop over 10% once a year. Okay, so don't be surprised that, oh my God, I got to pull out my hair. The market dropped. I need a guide. Give me the survival guide. I don't need a survival guide because I already know that that's what's going to happen. And I'm locked in because I'm locked in with my focus over the long term. I've got my long-term goals and my long-term needs. Yes, if I need all of my money or a good chunk of my money in the next 12 or 6 or 24 months, yeah, I better figure out what to do, because I can't afford the market to nosedive on me, because whatever I'm counting on, like that down payment for the house I'm going to buy, is going to be non-existent because maybe the market dropped, right? So my question to you then is, if you need the money in the next couple of months or next year or two, what business are you doing investing in the stock market to begin with? Okay, that's the guide that we need to speak about, right? You have to, if you have a short-term time horizon with your investments, then you shouldn't be in the stock market, because markets do drop, and they can drop often, and they can be vicious and violent when they drop. Right. So I'm talking about long-term investors. Long-term investors don't need any guide, right? They just need to invest correctly, like we always preach, right? Good, solid investments, hold them for the long term. For most people, that probably means investing in ETFs, solid ETFs. Don't get stuck into sectors, attractive sectors. Stick to chocolate vanilla, right? Large cap, mid cap, small cap, a little bit of international, and you're pretty much good to go. Right? If you can weather the storm, and if you have the personality where you can sleep at night knowing that, in any given time period, you might lose a third of your money, right? Like it happened at the beginning of Corona. Within 6 weeks, markets dropped a third of their value. You've got to be able to deal with that on an emotional level, right? Psychologically. If you're not equipped to do that, then you've got to take your foot off the pedal, right? And then you've got to start allocating your portfolio, not just from large, small, mid-sized companies, international companies, but you want to then maybe introduce some fixed income, some more conservative types of investments, CDs, what have you, right? Things which will help you sort of navigate, right? We're still going to be, this is point A, this is now, and this is point B sometime in the future, right? Whereas usually it's going to be like a roller coaster. It's still going to be a roller coaster, which is going to be a lot more stable roller coaster, right? You're still going to get to point B. It's going to take you a little bit longer, but it's slow and steady with a lot less volatility. That might be what some people are looking for, because they don't want that violent downdraft, which is not fun. Right? It's not fun watching your life savings dwindle over the short term. But again, trust the process that we always speak about. Long-term horizon, you should be fine. For those of you with short-term horizons, get out of the market. You don't have any business being in the stock market. You might have gotten lucky recently, but who the heck knows what's going to happen in 6 months? After all, people are pitching all the guides, the survival guide. So clearly something's going to happen. I mean, ultimately something's always going to happen, right? If I may be sarcastic, maybe these are marketing tools. I don't know, right? You know me, not a bone of sarcasm in my body. Anyway, that is the real tool. The real way to invest for 2025 is the same way you invest in 2024, and the same way you invest in 2023, and the same way you should have invested in 1986. Okay? Good, solid investments, right? Allocate, diversify, large caps, mid caps, small caps, and let it rip. If you've got a long-term horizon, again, if you've got a short-term horizon, get yourself out of the stock market. If you're in the midterm, some kind of a combination of the two probably will suit you. That's it. If you haven't done this and you're chasing, hot stocks, which have moved up by 4,000% over the last year, maybe you want to take some heed to what I'm saying, because that probably will not last. That is not a sustainable way to invest. In fact, many of investors are left. I see portfolios which are sort of like the dustbin of hot stock history, right? Right? iBasis, right? Marvel Communications, right? These stocks from 2000, all, whatever it is, LA Gear, iOmega. We can just go on and on and on. I could fill up a whole podcast with names of companies which were high flyers, which don't exist anymore, right? So don't chase. Just invest smartly, right? Slow and steady wins. That's the survival guide for 2025 and beyond. It's the same book over and over and over again if you do things correctly and you just trust the process, okay? You've been tuning into the Aaron Katzman Show. We speak about your life, money, and your investments. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if you think somebody really needs this survival guide, go ahead and share it with them as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.